Hey everyone, Mango7Roll here. How we doing today? Welcome to How to Build Brides, the new brides, actually the old new brides, I guess, the ones that were just released last night or the day before, depending on when we get this video up. So again, one thing I mentioned when I show you guys builds here is these are not built for plus 10. These are not built for optimal IVs. These are just general builds that work pretty well and are usable alongside your plus 10 units just fine. A lot of these units are how I have them built or how I would like to have them built, and I do use them in top 3000 Arena Assault on the regular, everybody but Caeda here actually. So keep that in mind. If you want to plus 10 one of these units, I think you should probably have a better idea on the builds than this. So if you need any help with that, let me know, because I do have a lot of plus 10 ideas in mind, but the builds change drastically between a plus 0 and a plus 10 unit. So if you are if you're always looking for build, it's really difficult, and you need to be really careful because a lot of stuff just doesn't work as well if they're at plus 0 as opposed to plus 10. So long story short, first one here is Cordelia. If you don't have Cordelia by now, she is just a hard carry, you know? Like, she's been my hard carry for the entire game since basically day one, since I got her. And mine is minus attack. Thankfully it's plus speed to kind of make up for it, but the minus attack hurts so very much. She's also the first person I ever used 20,000 feathers on to give a bow, and that is Brave Bow Plus, obviously. And with this spread, she's just like an absolute monster. Her C skill can obviously change to whatever you like. I just kept the default because why not? It doesn't matter too much. But the rest of it is just insane. Like, she kills everything. Just give her 3 dancers if you want, and she'll clear it out. You can even go Fire Sweep Bow if you like. I think that might be better in a higher tier arena, just to handle those armors a little more. But this works just as fine. If you are going to go something like Fire Sweep Bow, you'll obviously want to change the B to something else instead. But I do just like Brave Bow. Like I said, until my recent amount of plus 10s, like until I plus 10 to 3 units, having Dancer Cordelia on every single Arena Assault team would have been able to basically just do every single Arena Assault without even a question. So it's one of the best units, I think. Just general Brave Bow, Life and Death, Desperation units are some of the best. Even Setsuna, who has terrible attack, is still insane because of this. So if you are pulling on this banner, and by the way, be very careful of this banner. It's got 2 blues and 2 colors. If you're sniping for one of the specific units in a color, you could be there a very long time, like a very, very, very long time, and all your orbs could be gone. So be just like super duper careful, eh? Okay, so right before we uploaded this video, I kind of had to rethink Cordelia slightly. I do still like my Life and Death build better than this, but yesterday we were watching Acaris, or I was watching Acaris on Twitch, which you should join him on. And he showcased a Cordelia with Life and Death and said that is what absolutely not to do, which is kind of weird to me because it works so perfectly for me. So I'm gonna give this alternative build as well. I do still like my Life and Death build better, and I think she's going to survive like 90% of hits anyway with 36 HP, even with Life and Death, especially if you're just doing like GHB stuff, if you're just doing Arena Assault stuff. Obviously, if you're using her for something more like Grand Conquest, you might want to have that bulk going. But this is still an insane build and possibly better than the Life and Death one as well. It's also easier to get skill inheritance for if you do have Death Blow instead of Life and Death. And we do take off Desperation in favor of Swordbreaker, specifically because our speed is just not there anymore. Another thing to mention is my Cordelia is plus speed, so I do get something like 38 or something in speed, something really high, enough to quad people with Desperation, so that's the main reason for that. So this is probably a much safer build depending on your IV spread, and you can even go Fury 3 to get your bulk up a little bit here, up to 22-25 defenses, and it's still a respectable amount of attack. Next up we have Bride of the Plains Lyn, and I wasn't sure how to build her. I tried to build her tanky, but it just didn't work as well, especially when you have Dazzling already taking up that B slot, a valuable B slot. So instead I just went for the typical Savage Blow build. This is just a fantastic healer. You can use her in every Arena Assault, and again, we're not using super high skill inheritance stuff. We're just trying to get the most of everything. And speed plus 3 is just a really solid A skill. I think if you want to go super tanky on her and just try to have her survive at plus 0 and stuff like Grand Conquest, you can just give her something like Fortress Defense on A, or HP plus 5 even. As terrible as that sounds, that puts her up to 44 HP, and she can do wonders there. So this is how I like to build her. She's one of my best dancers to bring out just because she's got the default Candlelight and she's got the Dazzling to go with it. So super love this build, and it works out perfectly in Arena Assault. You'll use her every single Arena Assault at higher tiers as well because she can handle those armor units so well. Alternatively, if you really want to do something different, I'm just not entirely sure what you can do. Like, you can change up her Rehabilitate or her Miracle here to something like Heavenly Light to get that AoE healing on for Grand Conquest, and you can try to make her tankier here with something like Fortress Defense, but I think Speed plus 3 might just be better. And then you can change your C skill to a buff or something instead, although I do think Savage Blow is just better there too. So overall, I think this is one of the best builds you can get for her without super investing in her, or without having her at higher merges. Next up, we have Charlotte the Money Maiden. She's one of my favorite units to use in Arena Assault. This is not how I have mine built. I actually have mine built. Oh, I have it open right now. I have mine built like this. If you can see, I have, totally can't see, but it's Luna, Wind Boost 3, Swordbreaker 3, and Threat and Attack 3 with a non-refined first bite. And I do bring this Charlotte in almost every single Arena Assault at this point. There are a lot of swords, and while her first bite is not the best weapon in the game, it's actually quite terrible. You don't really need to inherit too much into her to make her a valuable Arena Assault unit. So in general, what I end up doing with this version of Charlotte is find a team that has 1 to 2 reds and maybe a lance as well, and just bait out the first hit from the red. She can survive virtually anything, barring maybe like insane plus 10 Zelgases or Iras, and she can take the hit, and then on the counterattack she will kill. If she doesn't kill on their initiation, she will kill on your initiation, no problem whatsoever. So this is a pretty low investment version of her, and like I said, I play her in my arena scoring, which is pretty high now. With this build, where is it here? With Wind Boost 3, which basically does nothing because I don't use her speed. That's why we have Defenses to Refine here. We don't use her speed at all. If we give her for Refine and speed, she goes up to what, 35 speed? And these are neutral builds, by the way, and it's just not enough. So just give her a little defense boost to make sure she can win those battles she can handle. One of the biggest tips I can give you guys is specialize all your units, you know, like make them valuable somewhere, especially once you start becoming more and more progressed in the game. You really need units that specialize in places to really handle everything. Now, I have seen some absolutely monstrous versions of +10s of these. Usually they have Brave Lance or Slaying Lance or something like that, but that's so high of investment for something, and unless you really want to get some merges on her, I think this is just making do with what you can with her Lance here. I also think if you give her something simple like Brave Lance Plus, she kind of loses her niche. Like, you can't really bring her in anymore with this. You can get initiation kills maybe. Obviously you'll have to change the A and the B, but you're really not gonna get as much done as you would bringing her in specialized against swords, or even lances. You can also bring her in against lances, although I don't think she's bulky enough to handle those lances, so I do think Swordbreaker's the one. Finally, we have our Talus's Bride Caeda. This is one of those units, the only unit of this banner I never use. I have such a hard time using her. She just doesn't do enough damage. I can't really get it done with her default weapon, and if you know me, you know I love to use her default weapon. But this is the best I can really come up with if you're trying to use her default weapon. This allows her to boost up her attack, her res, and just have her go for icebergs against blue tomes and red tomes. That's the entire plan of this entire build. Her Refine might be better as like plus attack or something, since your speed isn't going to matter too much with Stonebreaker. So this was a tough one for me. I wasn't sure how to build her. Like I said, I have such a hard time with her. She's the only one I don't use. Every time I try to use her, she fails me. But luckily for you, if you like Bride Caeda and you are okay taking away her weapon, you could just go the default Blarbade build. With Drawback, Glimmer, Fury 3, Desperation, all that stuff. You do notice she's got a 45-40 spread versus a 49-42 Nino, and we know how good Nino is. Obviously, you're missing what, 4 attack and 2 speed versus this Nino, but this Nino gets perfect IVs, and this one doesn't yet. So if you are to get the same amount of IVs here, plus speed minus HP. We're at 45-43 versus 49-42. So actually comparable. Not as good, I don't think, but still decently comparable. And I do think blue is in a really good place right now too, so keep that in mind, whether or not that pushes her ahead or below of Nino. But just remember, you're not going to be able to get any merges, but that shouldn't really matter as Blarblade. As long as you can take a hit here and there, you can get into desperation range and you'll just destroy everything. Alternatively, if you don't want to use Fury, you can use Life and Death 3 instead. You can still take a hit from a mage with 25 res, I think, and you get 47-45, which is just perfect stats, and she will just do wonders for your team. This is how I would build her if I was willing to give her Blarblade Plus, but I'm just not willing to do it, so keep that in mind. I would also, now that we have Marth as a groom/bride, love to build a team where they support each other and have fun together, you know? I feel like Blessed Bouquet would just work so well with Marth's weapon, and you know, they'll have so much fun together, and that's what matters, right? They're also blue and green, so they'll work together there. You can put them on tactics teams together. That's another build for you there, but it's a really specialized build, so I didn't really want to show that off. But if you're interested in merging them together, having a blast together, let me know, and I can try to find a duo, a bride and groom team party build together. I was also kind of sitting there being like, wow, I really want to see what these look like at plus 10, so why not? You guys probably do too. So this is how I would be building these units at plus 10, assuming I had pretty insane amount of fodder. This one here, I'd be doing Fire Sweep with Life and Death 3, Chill Speed, and Attack Smoke 3. As you can see, I do like Life and Death 3 a lot more than I think most people do. So alternatively, you could do Swift Sparrow 2 instead. I think it's just because I would never want to sacrifice any one of those units. So this is another insanely solid build, and I would definitely go Fire Sweep if I'm going plus 10. I would not stay Brave Bow at all. Really solid build here, and you could also do something like Speed Smoke as well here, or if you really want to have some fun, you could do Wings of Mercy instead of Chill Speed. But I really like the Chill skills, and I think this build would just be so much fun to use, and I envy everybody who has a plus 10 Cordelia to just have fun with something like this. Next up is Caeda. We're going to do the same Blarblade build at plus 10. We're going to do plus speed minus defense. This puts us to 50-48 with attack and speed on initiation. Swift Sparrow is just like such premium fodder. Once you hit the whale status, you're going to be giving Swift Sparrow to a lot of people because you really don't want to merge people up and then take their defenses down even more. It just doesn't make sense. So this works just perfectly, and you can also get double ploys in there, whatever your team needs. I think speed ploy is pretty easy to get considering it's on Sias. And then a res ploy is probably the best. Just those two just seem so good with Caeda here. So now we have our bride Lyn here. We went with our very, very, very typical double Savage Blow, Pain, Wrathful Staff, Dazzling, Miracle. That's about it. That's about every healer at this point. You can definitely change things around and make them super tanky instead, and I think that's good for a lot of content, but I think where healers really shine right now is Grand Conquest, so taking them away with Pain, Double Savage Blow just doesn't seem like a good idea there. We also have Brazen Attack Speed 3, because why not? I wasn't sure who else or what else to really put here. Alternatively, Close Counter would probably work, and you'd probably want to change your IVs up a little bit to get your defense up there. This is probably pretty close to what I would do, and I really love this unit. This would be so much fun having her up there. And finally, the fun one. This is Charlotte, and Charlotte changes a lot when she gets her merges up, specifically because she gets so much bulk, she gets so much HP, she gets so much everything, and I was playing around with her abilities, and this just looks like so much fun. I try to do the default Aether, but that's just not where I want to be. So having something like Slaying Spear here, since when you are at plus 10 units, you're going to be fighting virtually all armors. Like every battle has 2 to 3 armors, I think. So it's just going to do its work for sure. Like this weapon is just going to kick absolute butt. I'm not sure if it's better than Slaying Lance, but I feel like with how many armors there are, there has to be. It super has to be. We went with plus attack minus res just to kind of guarantee those kills. And we went with a Defense Refine instead of Speed, since I feel like what you're going to be fighting later is a little slower. We also have QR3 to kind of handle that instead. Alternatively, again, you could use Wings of Mercy, which does work really well. And we kept Panic Ploy because she's got 60 HP. Again, alternatively, depending on my team, I might use something like Infantry Pulse instead. And for an S skill, instead of a seal, instead of Close Defense, you could also do Heavy Blade 3, and then Refine Attack on her weapon. It puts her up to 61 attack with support, proccing Heavy Blade, Gale Force, and just having an absolute fun time against armors in Arena. Not to mention getting probably quite a few free kills in your Arena Assault, so I'm loving this build, and I would love to have her built at +10. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Those are my builds for the old Bride banners. I hope you have fun with the units, and I really hope you try to use them as much as you can in Arena Assault, since that's where these extra little +0 units we get can really shine through, and that's what makes me love so much more of these units. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe as always, and let me know in the comments below what I did wrong with these builds, because I always do something wrong. Have a great day, guys. Bye now.